Amara was 40 years old when she realized she had forgotten who she was. Every morning felt the same. The alarm ringing, breakfast to make, lunchboxes to pack, children to wake, and her husband rushing out of the house with a quick goodbye. Her days were filled with doing things for everyone else, and by night, she was too tired to think of herself. She loved her family deeply, but somewhere along the way, she had disappeared. There was a time when Amara was full of dreams. She wanted to write stories, travel, learn new things, maybe even teach again someday. But life had a quiet way of pushing her dreams aside. One decision after another, to quit her job for the kids, to stay home when her husband got busy, to skip things she loved because this isn't the right time. And soon 10 years had passed. One day, after her children left for school and her husband for work, Amara sat by the kitchen window with her tea. The house was silent, and she suddenly saw her reflection in the glass. She looked tired. Not old, but worn out, like a beautiful painting covered in dust. She stared at herself for a long time and thought, "Who am I now?" Later that evening, her daughter Hina asked her a simple question. "Amy, what did you want to be when you were my age?" Amara smiled faintly, trying to remember. "I think I wanted to be a writer," she said. Her daughter laughed gently. "Really? You never told me that." That night, when everyone was asleep, Amara opened an old notebook she found in her drawer. The pages were empty, but they called to her. She picked up a pen and began to write. Her handwriting was shaky, her words uncertain, but it didn't matter. For the first time in years, she was doing something just for herself. The next few days, she kept writing, small pieces, short stories, even poems. But each time she sat down, guilt whispered in her mind. "You should be cleaning, cooking, preparing something for the family." It was strange how she could give her time freely to others, but not to herself without feeling wrong. When her husband, Faisal, noticed her writing, he didn't understand. "You're always busy with something new," he said. "You should rest instead." She smiled politely, but inside she felt unseen. Rest wasn't what she needed. She needed to feel alive. Still, she didn't stop. In secret, she joined an online writing group. There she met women like her, mothers, wives, dreamers who had paused their lives for others and were now trying to find themselves again. They encouraged one another, shared stories, and reminded each other that it was never too late to begin again. One of them, Sarah, told her something that Amara never forgot. "At 40, we're not ending, we're just beginning again. The world just forgets to tell us that." Amara started sending her short stories to small websites. Most were rejected, a few went unnoticed, but one morning, she received an email that made her cry. It said, "Congratulations, your story has been published." She read it twice, then 3 times. Her hands were trembling, her eyes full of tears. It wasn't about money or fame. It was about the feeling that she still had something inside her worth sharing. When her children found out, they were proud. "Amy, I read your story online," Hina said. "It's so good." Her son Adil added, "Does that mean you're famous now?" Amara laughed, not because she was famous, but because she was finally happy. Her husband didn't say much. He wasn't angry, just distant. He didn't stop her, but he didn't celebrate her either. That hurt quietly, but she didn't let it stop her. She had spent too many years waiting for others to believe in her. Now she had learned to believe in herself. A few months later, Amara visited her old family home. Behind it was a small river where she used to sit and dream as a teenager. She hadn't been there in 20 years. Sitting there again, she felt the same wind, the same gentle sound of the water. And suddenly she understood something. Life was like this river. It kept flowing, whether you moved with it or stayed still. She whispered to herself, "I thought I lost myself, but I was just waiting to be found by me." When she came back home, she wasn't a new person, but she was stronger. She still cooked meals, helped with homework, and ran errands, but now she also wrote. Every evening, she gave herself 1 hour, just 1 hour, for her heart. It was her time, her peace, her space to breathe. Slowly, her writing improved. She began receiving small invitations to speak at local gatherings about women and creativity. The first time she stood on stage, she was nervous. But when she began to speak, her voice was clear. She said, I used to think that life slows down after 40, that dreams belong to the young. But I learned that life begins when you start choosing yourself again. You don't need anyone's permission to be happy. You don't have to wait for the right time. There is no right time. The right time is when you decide to begin. The women listening to her nodded, some even with tears in their eyes. They understood her words because they were living the same story, giving and giving until they forgot themselves. That night, when she returned home, her husband asked quietly, "How was your speech?" She smiled. "It went well." He hesitated for a moment, then said softly, "I read your last story. It was good." For the first time, his words felt like recognition. Not for a wife or a mother, but for Amara, the woman behind all those roles. Years later, Amara became known for her writing. She wasn't famous in the world's eyes, but in her own home, in her own heart, she had earned something far greater: respect, peace, and self-worth. Her children often came to her for advice. And each time, she told them the same thing. Don't live your life just to keep others comfortable. Love them, care for them, but don't forget to live for yourself too. The world will always need something from you. But you must also give something to your own soul. Now, every morning when she sat by the window with her tea, she watched the sunrise. The same sun she had seen every day for 40 years. But it looked different now. It looked like hope. She smiled and whispered, "This is my second sunrise." Amara had learned that it's never too late to start over. That peace isn't something you find, it's something you create. That motherhood is a part of you, not the end of you. And that self-love is not selfish, it's survival. So, whenever she met other women who felt lost or invisible, she told them gently, "You are still you. The world may have forgotten your name, but your heart hasn't. Don't wait for anyone else to give you permission to live. Begin today. Even if all you can do is write one line, take one step, or breathe one deep breath for yourself. You deserve that." And that was the advice Amara left behind for everyone who heard her story. No matter how far you've gone, no matter how long it's been, your life is still waiting for you. You just have to look up again and let your own sunrise find you.